Coffee and Connect, Video India's first talk show, where we would be talking to partners, leaders, and experts on subjects of business priority and also take a sneak peek into their personal personas, what makes them, what challenges them, what drives them to the decisions they take and the choices they make, something that you would definitely not see on Microsoft Teams. I'm Smriti Saluja. I head up the marketing and communications at Video India, and it gives me immense pleasure to have on the Coffee and Connect couch this evening none other than our managing partner, Mr. Milind Kothari. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Smriti. It's a pleasure to be on this show.
It's a great pleasure to have him on the opening season of Coffee and Connect and our opening episode as well, which also happens to be our Diwali edition. Before we progress further, I would like to disclaim that I've given Milind and I would be giving other guests thematic references of our interactions this evening, but not the exact questions. So sit back and get ready for Milind, who answers candid questions on cameras, and hopefully we would get to know about the incredible journey that video has had in India and some of his own as well.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to this conversation with you, Smriti.
Great. So let's roll with our first set of questions. Milind, video has completed 8 years in India. The journey has been fast-paced. It's been incredible. Take us back in time and to a point where the Video Global Network was looking at choosing a network member firm. Why did they choose us? Why us at that point?
Interesting question, Smriti, and I don't know the answers myself. Why did they choose us? But let me tell you what I think of what really transpired way back 9 years ago. In fact, even 6 months before we began the video journey. So one Mr. Kim Hayward and Paul Goff came to our office at this particular office that we are currently speaking it from, and they came and met with us. There were many contenders for getting to become the next video firm. It doesn't ever so happen that the 5th largest brand in the world is looking for a partner firm anywhere in the country, so much as in India, and we just were very lucky that they came and met with us. There were large firms in the race before us. There were firms which are very, very recognizable names at that point of time. And as such, because of being a firm which was a young firm at that point of time as well, in my view, we never stood a chance to become a video firm. But surprisingly, they called us out and the conversation started. And they told us at some point of time that they would be keen to partner with us to become the next video firm in India. And I think that's the starting point. As I mentioned to you, I'm still not sure what really must have transpired to make us a video firm in India. But I think our thinking came about to be more progressive, which was what they thought was unique to us, the way our philosophy of how we could possibly look at growing the firm in India. And I have a strange suspicion that when they looked at the review office, that was really the clincher, because I remember Kim Hayward telling me that he's never seen an office like this in India, and that made a big difference because it also spoke for us what we stood for. The office was a statement that possibly made a big difference. But that's my take on the subject, Smriti.
That's really interesting, and very interesting is about the outlook, the progressive outlook that you thought demonstrated our core values at that point in time. So when back in 2013, about the India landscape, do you think there was room for another global accounting firm, what with our larger competitors already in this space?
There never is, Smriti, is that there is never room for another actor, there is never a room for another cricketer, and there was no room for another accounting firm always. But we need to elbow ourselves into finding our space, and I think that's what we've done over these last 8.5 years. We found our place and we've claimed the number 5th position. I'm hoping in the network as much as I'm hoping in India as well. And I think we've done well for ourselves in just such a short period of time.
I couldn't agree more, but I've been with the firm for around 8 years myself now. But for everybody and all our listeners and viewers who haven't, 2016 was a turning point in our own growth story. Tell us how we reached there. What were you thinking? What decisions did you take at that time? What steps did you make? Tell us a little bit on 2016.
I can't disagree with this statement that 2016 was a year of a reckoning and a changeover from where we began. And I think for the first time I was left alone to figure out for myself how the firm is going to grow from here. And I took several decisions at that point of time, fearlessly, without looking back, saying what's going to happen, or can we succeed in our enterprise of trying to grow the business in India. We were down to 20 partners. We had only 3 offices that could make a difference. The fourth was limping, and we were less than 500 people back then. And then I made some kind of a checkerboard plan, something like a chessboard plan, to say we need to get 64 partners, 8 by 8, 8 locations, 8 partners everywhere. And that was in my head at that point of time. And I said, we need to get this number of partners in this location so that we can propel a growth in the firm. But believe you me, we actually managed to recruit no less than nearly 40 partners in a very short period of time, and then began a journey. And we made mistakes. I made several mistakes in hiring people, and I think, I can talk another day the number of mistakes I've made. And I said, should I have done this and should I have not done that? But I think the risk that we took at that point of time, and the fearlessness with which we approached the subject of growth, I think that was the turning point. And I think this is where we are. And I would personally, if I may say that, I've been very fortunate and lucky that I was able to work with some of the best people now that we have in our leadership at this point of time. And that's been the, how would I say, the cornerstone of our growth. So very happy to be here.
What were your key learnings when you say you navigated these times when you had to go back to the drawing board and get your strategy realigned? What were the key learnings at that point in time that are still relevant today? And by relevant, we're so dynamically growing, learning, failing, succeeding. What were the key learnings there back then, sir, that still hold good today for us?
I think one of the key learnings that I've discovered for myself is that for a professional services firm to become successful, it is the leadership and the people who really make the foundation very strong. And I think that's one of the key learnings, I would say, that continues, and that remains with me even as of date. It is our people and our leadership and our partners that is the foundation of our success. That cannot change, because so much has changed from the time we started. I think nothing has remained at all that is relevant. If I can take you back to 2013, is that only 3 of those partners who were there in the firm at that point of time remain with the firm at this point of time. So the officer, the Ruby, Rajesh, Jigar and myself, these are the only 4 things that have remained. Everything else has changed. But I think I would still believe the people have made a difference all along, and I think that's my key learning, nothing else.
So we talk about learnings and fundamentals, and then we talk about engines of growth. For an organization of tomorrow like ours, where do you think is our engine of growth now?
I think they start with what we want to aspire to become in a period of time and what we can become. And I think that's one of the important facets of the growth engine as we want to look forward. The second is we need to discover for ourselves what is unique to us as a BDO firm in India, and I think that would make a big difference. And I'll talk about it in a period of time, what I think and why this is such an important aspect. The fundamentals of growth clearly would be our leadership, our vision, and our drive to succeed despite all the adversities that we may encounter. It's not that the story is over in terms of we are always going to be successful at what we do. We are still going to meet with challenges as we grow, and the dimensions would be different as we go forward from here. But I think these are the key engines of growth which we possibly would want to look at going forward.
Great, sir. As we grow, and now we're talking about people, we're talking about leadership, we're already 3,500 employees, 200 partners and directors. And there is conjecture, if I may use the word on this episode in this season, there's conjecture that we might still look like some of our competitors in the accounting fraternity very soon. What's your take on that?
Interesting question, and I think, first of all, the number that you mentioned, 3,500, I'm hoping it should have been 4,000, and it is nearing that. And I'm looking forward to the day that we become 4,000 people and then also grow from there. And to your question, are we going to be different than other organizations which are similarly sized or even much bigger than us, such as our competitors? And I think we would want to make a difference over here. We want to be doing something different. We don't want to go into the common trap of becoming a copy of our competitors. That is something that has always remained with me. And you must have heard me many times over to say, why do we need to be like everyone else? Why can't we ourselves?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we would want to. And I think how do we relate to our people and how do we bring us together in a journey from here on is going to be very, very important for us. Um, I'm not the best person to tell you about what's wrong with the larger competitors and what's right with us. But I think if we stick to what we want to achieve and what is our core values and our culture, I think that's what's going to distinguish us from anyone else for that matter.
Do you think the pandemic has added to this shift in terms of mindset, in terms of people, in terms of how our culture is evolving and how our organization is led? What is the difference between pre-pandemic and now?
I think to begin, I think if I may say that before the pandemic dawned on us that there is something real happening here and we might need to take time off from the offices and work from home, I was very reticent that can the work from home ever succeed, and I was not in favor of that. And I had also had this demand from my leadership team that they all need to be very close to us and in the same office. Suddenly all of that has changed. Now we have a leadership which is spread across India. We have people, we have Vineet Rastagi from New Delhi, we have Gunjan from Chennai, and I think it is spreading. Love Goel again is from New Delhi. So we are seeing people in the leadership team disperse all across the country, and I think that's the essence of how we're going to grow from here. That's a big change in my mind as much as the way we operate. The other thing was that we always measured in terms of how to grow was that we recruited people and we also had to make sure that we had enough seating in our offices across the country. But that changed the dimension of growth is that we actually unleashed ourselves in this period of time, that we never had to look at whether we had offices or not. And we've recruited all across the country for now. I think we are recruiting hugely in the places even where we do not have offices now. So I think that's a very different dimension of how we are looking at growing the business from here. The culture, the values, and how we relate to our people has been a challenge in the pandemic. It will continue to be a challenge because we don't see ourselves resuming to a 5-day-a-week office anytime soon. This might not even ever happen is what I could say at this point of time. Of course, our thinking changes all the time, and what is in the future, no one knows, including myself. So no guesses there. But I would say a lot of things have changed and it will continue to change. I can only tell you in summaries that we are for the better this way than when we were in the pandemic, before the pandemic. And I think it's very exciting in this new phase of our growth post-pandemic.
Next question, cliche as it may sound, since we've recapped pre-pandemic to now, where do you see the firm 5 to 10 years ahead?
Yeah, that's my favorite subject, and thanks for asking this question to me. Is that I really see this firm in India to become one of the largest services firm in India as much as in our global network as well, global organization. I'm not going to be able to tell you a number that we could look at, but can we double from here in the next 3 to 5 years of time? My answer is clearly yes. Can we even become bigger and then after that grow to become something substantial? Again, my answer is yes. And I think we would be possibly have the biggest talent pool that could get leveraged globally over a period of time from India. And I think we have a significant role to play in India as much as a global organization or a part of a global organization like BDO. So very exciting times ahead. And we have, I think you must have heard many business leaders speak about it, that the real growth of India will be there in the next couple of decades. Yeah. And if that prophecy is right, I think BDO India has a very important role to play here as a very significant professional services firm coming out of India.
Have you also thought about this in, like you mentioned, in the context of our contribution to the global organization? Where do you think, or how important do you think would that be, and how would it manifest?
I think we've had this intense discussion on what BDO India has to offer to the global organization, at least in the last 6 months, including with the global board and multiple global leaders of the global organization. And I think one thing that is coming out loud and clear is that India is the only talent surplus country in the coming years. If I look at 2030 and even after, India will be the only talent surplus country in the world. And therefore, India would be the place where all the talent will be onboarded for the global firms from here. And I think it's already seen this kind of growth happening. The video rise story has been quite spectacular. It began small, but I think in the last, I would say only the 9 months in this calendar year. And if I look at another 6 months from now, this itself will be close to 1,000 people in India, which is a Video Rise, as you possibly know, is a joint venture with Video US and Video India. But likewise, we are looking at partnering with many other global network firms, which are also significant part of the global organization. And India would be providing a huge amount of talent and, of course, capabilities to provide services which are state of the art going forward. Very important role for India to play going forward. And if I look at if this network or the global organization is to become from 10 billion to 20 billion, and we are currently sized at 90,000 people. And if you have to become 20 billion, we need another 90,000 people. Where are they going to come from? And my guess is a large contingent of this will only come from India. So that's my take on how Video India has an important role to play.
Incredible. Last question on this theme. If you had to give us two differentiators about Video India, top two, what sets us apart from everybody else in not just the accounting fraternity, but also the services, professional services firms or arena at large?
I think, and I can't claim to say that this is our proprietary thinking or anything of the sort, but I think over this last 8.5 years, and in this period of time, lots have happened, as you've been part of the journey along with so many of us. And we've grown spectacularly in India, possibly one of the few services firm that has become so large in such a short period of time in India, which is not one of the large accounting firms, if I may put it as an exclusion. So amongst the law firm and accounting firm, we possibly stand out as one which has grown so rapidly as a standout example. Why it has happened is that our ability to take enormous amount of risk and our enterprise to grow and engage with the right people, that has distinguished us to become what we have become. And I can tell you, you asked me as a first question of 2013 and what made us to become a video firm and where are we now. And I can recall the conversation I had with the then CEO of Video International, Martin Van Rockel. And I met with him about 2 years ago in Hamburg, and he repeated this again. And the first time when I heard this, I could not believe my ears. But when he reiterated this again 2 years ago in Hamburg, he told me this, Milind, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life was to appoint the Indian firm as video firm in India 8 years back. And I was astonished and surprised that he had to make a statement like that we could do something different over here as an Indian firm. And that's, I think, has distinguished us. We are a young organization. I believe personally, possibly I'm not part of that, how would I say, the young lot of the organization. But I can see the energy which is there in a firm, which is infectious. And it's amazing to be part of this organization. I can say that for myself, I'm honored and privileged to be a part of this organization. I can tell you multiple times that I would have mentioned this to when I talk to young people in an organization, including yourself, that what a privilege it has been to be part of this journey. And I think these are the couple of things I can quickly recall to say is that our core thinking and our ability to take enormous amount of risk. We've always wanted to be disruptors rather than disrupted.
Yeah.
And this the young infectious vibe that is there in the firm, I think this is the big difference I can tell you Video India is all about.
That's incredible, and I think in your context, age is just a number. And if we were a young, infectious bunch with a lot of energy, I think it comes from you.
Thank you so much for that compliment. And I really cherish these moments that I have to work with young lot and people like you. Thank you.
That's been really enlightening. There were a lot of things in there that even I didn't know. So thank you for that. And I'm sure all of our listeners have enjoyed it thoroughly. Moving on to the next section, which also is a little more interesting, a little more non-video, a little more Milind. So let's have the opportunity of knowing Milind Kothari as the managing partner of Video India that we've always known, but what makes the man who he is. So these, sir, questions would be a little more non-organizational, I would say, but just let's try to be a lot more candid here.
Absolutely. And as you began your conversation with a disclaimer, let me also give a disclaimer from my side that I'm just an ordinary person like everyone else is, and I just happen to become what I've become thanks to destiny and a lot many things which I'm not able to tell you how I've become what I've become and where I've come in my journey as a professional, but very happy to be here. So look forward to those questions and I'll try to answer in all my honesty.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay. What motivates you to get out of bed each day?
I would say there is nothing that crosses my mind. Of course, it remains with me that I'm part of this organization at all points of time, and it is such a success and a spectacular one as that we've become in such a short period of time. That remains with me all the time. So that it doesn't leave me ever. When I'm every waking moment, it is with me that I'm part of something that is a great success story. Coming back to your question, what motivates me to get out of bed? It is not to say that today I'm going to do something spectacular in video or we're going to do something amazing. It's not what it is. It's in most of the cases, it's I have a yoga session that starts at 7:30,
okay.
And it's always I'm very conscious that am I going to be getting up in time enough to be able to get to that session? As simple as that. So that's what I would have to say is that this is what motivates me to get out of bed.
Have there been any dreary Mondays for you? Oh, it's a Monday. Do you ever feel like that?
I think it's always with everyone, and it doesn't. It's not different for me as well. That I have not ever liked a Monday morning, but I think post-pandemic things have changed. That I don't need to dress up and go to office first thing in the morning on Monday, which is great. But I think I'm hoping that it'll get better in period of time, the Monday mornings.
How do your weekends look like? What's the last book that you read?
That's an interesting question. You know that I was very passionate about writing articles for a magazine, Business World.
Yeah.
And I was always looking for new ideas and new stories that would excite for me to read and prepare for writing an article. And in August, I was asked a question in one of the panel interviews in one of the business organizations. And they asked me, how do you scale up? That was a question that came up. And I said, yeah, that's an interesting question. Of course, we have our own story, how we scaled up to become what we've become in a period of time. But there is something more to it. There are global corporations that have scaled immensely and even much faster than what we can imagine. And there are many of them in the last decade, especially the big IT companies out of the US. Mm-hmm. And that intrigued me to say, what is it that you do differently to be able to scale up to this size? And I'm reading 6 books on only one subject that's called scaling.
Okay.
And there is one particular book which is Blitz Scaling, which is written by Reid Hoffman, okay, who is the founder of LinkedIn. And I think that's a very interesting read. I'm trying to find out how does companies scale very rapidly. And mm-hmm. We are getting into such businesses ourselves where if we want to be successful, we need to do very quick scaling up to become something like winner takes it all. That's how some of the businesses are, especially technology-driven businesses are all of that. There is never room for the second player, and that's the interesting part. So I'm reading a lot on blitz scaling and how to scale up businesses. That's my current read, if I may say.
Too heavy. All right. Okay. What is the best advice you've got?
You would have possibly read my short backside interview in Business Today, where this same question was asked to me, and I might want to repeat that answer, is that never waste a crisis was the best advice I got in 2016. And it came from my dear friend Stephen Daly, who is the CEO of Asia Pacific of Video International. And you of course are aware of 2016, as you mentioned, was a year that we pivoted to become what we've become. And when we were going through that year right from the beginning, Stephen said this to me, that Winston Churchill once mentioned that never waste a crisis. And I think that stayed with me at that point of time, and that has stayed with me even today, is that every crisis that we come across, I'm also trying to find out if you could do things differently and make benefit out of it. And I think we've practiced this very well over the last 5 years of time. And I think we've benefited from this advice, especially myself.
That's great. And what is the one advice that you would give if you were to give only one? Though you have a lot more experience in learnings to share, but just one.
I really can't tell you because how would I say to say only one thing that I would have to say as an advice to anyone. I would say believe in yourself that you're capable, and when you start believing that, I think that is the starting point of everything else that will unfold for you in your life. I can say that from a point of wisdom of the number of years that I've worked with, but I would only say that belief in yourself is the most important thing that could make you make a difference over a period of time.
Sorry, I'm going to deviate from one of the questions because I'm going to pick one up from your earlier round. You mentioned failures, and what's your take on failing?
Interesting question again, and if I may, and I told you before this session started that Smriti, I'm not going to talk about my personal journey to become what I've become, but I'm happy to talk about Video India story from the time we began as a video firm in 2013. But this question, I would have to go back to my early days as a profession, from the time I qualified to where I'm today. And all I can tell you is when I look back, there are a number of failures I can tell you, which I would take it in humility as a part of the journey that one would have. Fortunately, that never daunted me to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying after that. And I was astonished to read about Jeff Bezos when he was addressing a party in Washington some 2 years ago, and he also said the same thing. And I was saying, wow, even Jeff Bezos failed, and so many times. And he said, my life is replete with failures. So that's what Jeff Bezos had to say. Someone who is as successful as CEO of Amazon at that point of time had to say about his own journey and the how would I say, the journey that he had with the failure alongside. And I think I could possibly say the same thing for myself, is that the number of times I've failed and a number of times I'm failing now, as much I'm going to fail in the future, I don't think that's ever going to leave us. But I think I've got humbled in the process, that failure is an integral part of everyone's journey. And I think it's a great learning. It always teaches so much to us every point of time, every time I fail. And I've heard this all the time, as a professional, and as that, failure, how important failure is, and failure is a big teacher, and success doesn't teach you anything, and all of that. And I never took it seriously. But I think this video journey for the last 8 years of time, which has been a roller coaster ride to begin, but of course it's now become something that is, it's like a space journey, if I may put it. But I think it's amazing what failure teaches you all the time. And it's been also another privilege for myself, so much learning that it has imparted to me.
Milind, what are your professional, personal goals? I'm sure, and you may correct me if I'm wrong, that I don't think there is a demarcation as discrete as personal and professional for you. I think it just makes you, it just is your fabric. But what are your professional stroke personal goals, if they're different or if they're same?
No, I think somewhere they're coming together. Strictly personal goals is not something that is what the question is all about. But if I look at professional personal goals, I think, I have been thinking about it, and especially in the pandemic, for once I had time to think. And I've changed myself in the last couple of years. I've given up a lot of responsibilities to Yogesh, who is handling those responsibilities very ably now. And that gave us time for me to think, what do I want out of my remaining years, in whatever capacity, whether I'm part of video or even in some way I remain connected with video even after that. And I thought for myself, there are 4 things I would possibly want to pursue as my goals. Number one is I should be able to create an immense amount of wealth and money that could make a difference to videoites to begin, and then again to Indians after that. If I can contribute back to the society, I would be very, very happy if I can get that goal fulfilled in my lifetime. Number one. Second one, which would be very surprising to, is that I want to pay a lot of taxes. I think that's a contribution I want to make to India. Okay. And a lot of people ask questions saying, why do we need to pay taxes? What is our country giving back? Look at the roads, look at this, look at that. And I'm saying, let's not ask this question. We just need to do this because we are Indians. And I'm very proud of the taxes that we pay today. And I want to pay a lot of taxes in the future. That's maybe surprising an answer to you, but or a goal for you that you might not have heard me saying this. This is my second goal. Third is I'm very excited about the number of people that we engage, and I keep checking this with the HR is to tell us how many number of employees we have, and this is very exciting number for me because the number of people that we are able to engage and provide employment, I think that's a great high, and what an honor and a privilege for me to be a part of a country where this is such a thing that we can provide jobs to so many and make a difference in people's lives. I think that's a big goal for myself. And the last one is that can I touch the lives of individuals and make them successful professionals or success in their own journey? And I think that's the fourth goal that I have. I'm going to remain with these four goals hopefully for a long time, which actually sums up everything that I want to do going forward from here.
I think there couldn't have been a better blend of professional, personal goals and these. That's brilliant. Thank you. Last question in this round. If BDO India was an emotion, just in one word, an emotion, what would that be for you?
It's a tough one to bring it to one particular thing, but I think purpose is what I would say is BDO is all India is all about.
Well, that concludes a very exciting round on knowing Milind a little more than what we know of him as a managing partner. So the last and final round, this is your rapid fire round.
Sure.
You have to tell me the one word that comes to your mind when you hear me say these things. And it has to be rapid and it has to be a little more exciting than what you conventionally read. So here goes.
Sure.
First one, holiday.
Overdue.
Fitness.
Way of life.
India.
It's an honor to be an Indian.
Technology.
Survival.
Success.
Follows failure.
Community.
Togetherness.
Sustainability.
Important to achieve together.
That was a brilliant start to Coffee and Connect. Thank you so much, Milind, for being our opening guest for the inaugural session. And I'm sure there are going to be many, many more, but it couldn't have been more brighter, more beautiful in the Diwali edition than to kick it off with Milind. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Smriti. It was a joy speaking with you. And I wish all of the BDOites a very happy Diwali and a prosperous New Year. Stay well, stay safe, and look forward to seeing you in person at some point of time. Till that time, ciao.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Coffee and Connect as much as we enjoyed it putting it together for you. Until then, stay tuned for more episodes on Coffee and Connect. Wish you all a very happy Diwali.